Welcome, everybody, to the Side Quest, your journey through gaming culture, and a little bit of alcohol. Maybe I'm Dolly Domovsky. Joining me on the Side Quest. Side Questing's weekly podcast is Aaron Scratty Bones Kelly.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's wonderful. Sam March Mad. No, we gotta think of a good Sam Madness. Slam Dunk Dixon. There we go.
Hi, hello, friends.
Slam Dixon.
No, I already hate it.
Oh, I don't know. I think Slam Dixon is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Oh goodness, how you guys doing? And Tom, hi Tom. Tom made us fucking. We're gonna come out firing with the swears, but Tom made us choose this time slot for the podcast, and guess where he isn't on the podcast. Yep, good old Tom time. Whatever. How you guys doing? You guys doing good at least?
Eh.
Uh-oh.
All right, you guys want to kick this off with a story?
Let's kick it off with a story. Sit down, friends. It's time.
So, a friend sent me a bunch of computer parts. New motherboard, new processor, new RAM, stuff like that. And I've been sitting on them for like almost 2 weeks. And then my day off from my job was Monday night, Tuesday. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to tear my computer apart. I'm going to put all this new shit in. So I start doing that, and I pull the motherboard out. Like I pull the power supply out, put the new power supply in, go to put the motherboard in, put the processor in, goes swimmingly, go to screw the heatsink in. And there's just 4 holes in the motherboard. There's nothing there. I've never built a computer before. So I'm like, do you just force the screws? Like, what am I doing? Spend like an hour on that. And finally, it turns out there's supposed to be a back plate on the opposite side of the motherboard that the heatsink screws into that I just don't have. So my computer right now is just in pieces on all over my apartment right now because I had to take the damn thing back apart. And friend of mine was like, "No, I got you covered. I'll be down tomorrow. I'm gonna bring you a box of parts." So he shows up at my job today. He's like, "Here's a box of parts. You're probably good." And so I open it. It's just screws. There's nothing. There's no back plates. It's just like 100 screws of different sizes. And I'm like, all right. So that's just all over I'm on my laptop right now. And then my webcam died. So I'm on my laptop webcam right now. So that's my week.
You
What's
are
up?
Screwed. That was horrible. That sucked, dude. Every week we start off with an Aaron story of whether it's his human body failing or it's something on his computer. And
I'm still sick too, by the way.
Yeah,
you can probably hear it in my voice.
Yeah, we can. You sound throatier, I guess.
Yeah, well, my throat's quite constricted, but I just got back from the local tavern where it's wing night, and so I have doused myself.
That's why you said you couldn't do it tonight.
No, so I was supposed to be fixing this computer with a friend tonight, and then I looked at the parts, and the parts aren't right. So I said, "Nah," and he was like, "It's cool. I'm already at the bar. And I'm already drunk." And I was like, "Cool. I'm gonna go home and be a nerd."
Like, I'm gonna go home and podcast with my peeps.
But I have doused myself with high levels of capsaicin, so I don't feel the sore throat right now.
Okay.
Because capsaicin has anti-inflammatory properties. The more you know.
Dun, 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 dun. Sam, do you have any strange stories of anything?
No, I was also at a wing night tonight, though. That was fun.
Oh, yeah?
Nice. Did you have the suicide sauce?
No, I had just normal buffalo wings because they only offer buffalo or barbecue and occasionally like an extra like different flavor, but it comes in a little saucer and you have to sauce them yourself.
So here's a pretty funny story. So I'm one of the only people at my bar that gets the suicide sauce because it's too hot for most people. And weirdly enough, my cousin works at the bar and he's the one who makes it. So I was down for wing night like 2 weeks ago, and they bring the wings. They're like, "Hey, the usual." I'm like, "Yep." Sit down, bring the wings, dip the first wing, barbecue sauce. So I just ate plain wings. I saw my cousin tonight. He was out on a smoke break. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Yeah, were you on vacation 2 weeks ago?" He's like, "Yeah, why?" I was like, "Because they gave me fucking barbecue sauce." He's like, "Oh, those motherfuckers."
Oh boy.
I can tell when my cousin's on vacation by the sauce they give me for the wings.
Wonderful. Well, Yeah, nothing on my end. No stuff. I'm still moving, so I'm still cleaning shit. I don't have a lot in my house. It's kind of like living in a model home, I guess. Because anything we do, you got to pick up and clean up right away. So there's the house is actually nice and clean for the first time, but I don't know where any of my shit is. I've put so much stuff away and shoved shit in the closets that it's impossible to find things. We've had a lot of showings this week, which is why I haven't been able to play a ton of games, which we'll get into in a little bit. I see maybe we can get into that right now with our weekly "What You've Been Playing" portion of our podcast. So I'll start with what we've been playing, what I've been playing.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. So as I said, with all the moving stuff, I haven't had a chance to, to really get into a game. The minute I'd start, potentially someone would come to the house and want to view the house. I'd have to stop playing. So thankfully for the Switch, I'm able to get some stuff in. I mentioned, I think last week, that I was playing, what is it? A couple of the games. Hold on, I'm checking right now. Swords and Soldiers 2, Shwarmageddon, which is really good. I love that game. It's a several-year-old Wii U game in the series, but they brought it to Switch. So been plugging through that. Really like it. And Assault Android Cactus is fantastic. I mentioned that. This week I've been playing Battaloon. Expect that review to go up this week. It's a very simple party game. It's a Switch game. I think I'm not breaking an NDA. I think the game's already out, right? Probably. Who knows? I'm going to guess this out, and I'm going to break. I should probably check, though, right? Just to make sure that it...
I think I've seen videos of people playing it. Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, it's just... It's a co-op, or it's a multiplayer game. It's not co-op. It's multiplayer. You're in an arena with hazards all around, and you take on the... persona of a kind of inflatable character, whether it's a balloon or it's a squid or an octopus or a bird, and you're just kind of floating yourself around this little arena and bashing into the other players, try to knock them into the hazards. It's super simple. It almost looks like an Atari game, just visually as well. But it's fine. I guess it would be a really good co-op. It's great for kids because my daughter loved it, but I'm guessing it'd be a really good multiplayer experience if you've had a few in you. I don't know if that's any way to like gauge how good a game is, but you kind of have to be in the mood and already be energized for something like this, because it's only one mode and it's just you and a bunch of folks. There's no single player, there's no online, there's no co-op or anything. It's just multiplayer, knocking people around. So it's a very simple concept, but it's fine. I think it's actually not a bad game at all. It's very simple. And I just started today playing The Missing. I think it's J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories, which I know Zach on the site had good stuff to say about it. Any of you play it yet? The Missing?
I've looked into it, but I haven't had a chance to actually play it yet. Seems like a fucked up game. I'm
only 15 minutes into it, but it's already pretty fucked up. So yeah, I just started that. That's it. That's all. I haven't had a lot to do this week. Oh, I will say one thing. I did get back into God of War because I'm gonna fucking finish that game. God damn it! It's already been a year since that game's been out, right? It came out last March or something, right?
I was just gonna have you clarify which God of War we're talking about, because knowing you, it could be the original God of War.
It could be the original God of War. I do have God of War 3 that I'm staring at right now over on the wall. No, it's God of War 2018, and but I've been playing it at home on the PS4, but also through just streaming through the PlayStation app. And I've been plugging in or not plugging in, but I've been using a Bluetooth controller to try to get some stuff to work. And I have a shitty Bluetooth controller with the phone. So I'm looking for suggestions. So if any of y'all listeners or readers or viewers or friends have suggestions for a Bluetooth controller for iPhones that I can use to play, let me know. I'm looking forward for some information.
Can you not use the Xbox One controller on an iPhone?
Is it Bluetooth?
Yeah, because I've used the Xbox One controller on my Android phone, but I don't know if, it's a Microsoft device, so poo-poo, but...
I have the original Xbox One controller, which I don't know if that one was Bluetooth or not.
I think the launch ones were not, but
Yes,
like
that's what I got.
everything that you can purchase
Okay.
now, I believe is, and you can buy one of those like dumb grip things to mount your control or your screen onto.
I have one of those, but they're not. It's not great. It hardly fits the iPhone. It like can't access the buttons on there either. But yeah, I want to use an actual controller because I just want to set the iPhone up on like take a break, go out in the car, set the iPhone up on my dashboard, and just at lunchtime play some God of War. But yeah, it works well. I'm surprised because streaming is the future, and it's not even the future. Streaming is the present. I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit here. What about you guys? What have you been playing? How about you, Sam? What have you been playing, Sam? Tell us, Sam.
Yeah, what's up, Sam?
Hey, Sam.
Geez, why so aggressive of what I've
Do
been
it,
playing?
Sam.
I mean, do we want the big one or the small one first?
Just hit us with whatever you want, man.
All right. Well, let's go with the small one first. So I've been playing a little bit of Slime Rancher on and off. For all of those that need something to fill that void of like.
I've never played a Slime Rancher. I don't even know. I've heard of it, but that's
it's basically like think of it as like a farming game or like even something like Harvest Moon, but instead of working with like forming social relationships and growing crops, you're basically going out, abducting slimes from their homes, putting them in pens, and then using them to generate. I'm not sure what it was called, but basically you feed them and they poop out material that you then sell on the black market.
Are they called plorps or something?
Yeah, it has some name or whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and assume it's their poop because all they do is eat and then manufacture this currency. So, but there's a bunch of different slimes. So like you have the generic pink slimes at the start, and then you get like cave slimes that are only coming out during the night. And if you want to keep them, you have to have like a cave area for them to stay in. And then there's like cat slimes, but then all these slimes have different personalities and different relationships to other slimes. So like the cat slimes love to get out of their pen and cause problems. So you can't have more than a certain number of cat slimes in your pens because they will start stacking on top of each other to climb out. So you've got to kind of learn like the relationships and the ecosystems. And then there's like crossbreeding of slimes. I'm not really sure.
You make them eat their poop.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the end game of that is, but it's been rather soothing to kind of abduct slimes and raise chickens for them to eat, and it's just a fun kind of like cute casual game that it's a great like time filler. I like turn it on for 15 minutes here and there, play like through a day cycle of that, and then go do something else. So that's been nice. I think Epic, actually, I think it just rolled over to Oxenfree today. So Epic was giving it away for free. But now they're giving Oxenfree away, which apparently is also a good game. So download that. I'm sure I'll get to it eventually because I'm one of those people that's like, oh, it's free. Even if I have no interest in playing it, I'll turn it on for 5 minutes. So you'll probably hear about it.
I am the exact same way. It's like, oh, shit's free. I'm getting it. And never get into it again.
You are better people than I am because I'm the same way where I'll go, oh, it's free. Let me just redeem that. And then I will never launch it.
I never launch it either. I never launch it.
I opened 2 on Steam thanks to Humble because it was free like last week, and I will never play that.
As well. Yep. There's another one that's free today too.
It's Tacoma, but it's not on Steam. It's just a Windows download.
You can add it to your account.
I think Twitch is also giving that away for free right now if you're a Prime member.
Oh.
I am not.
Other than that, though, like many of us refugees from the Destiny 2, I am playing The Division 2.
Tell us.
So I really like The Division 2. It's my group has been looking for a replacement game probably since the original Destiny. We've all been kind of like floating here and there. Like a couple of us tried Monster Hunter World and really enjoyed it, but like the whole crew wasn't really sold on it. We all tried to get into Destiny 2, but like ever since that first raid, none of us have really been interested in like exploring any future content there. And then Anthem was just a big old stinker. So here we are. Finally, the entire crew is back again to play The Division 2. and it's good. I think it fits that perfect balance of being able to just BS with your friends while you're just kind of cleaning up normal side activities. And then when you're in main missions or more serious stuff, you know, still kind of goofing around, but then you get to a room where it's like, okay, this room kicked our ass. Let's actually sit here and strategize and work together as a team to push through that stuff. And I mean, that stuff has been really good so far. We're not to end game yet. We're all still, I think a couple of us are level 30. I'm personally not. So we're still kind of trying to figure out some of that stuff. And who knows, maybe that all falls apart during the end game. But otherwise, I've been really enjoying it. That game's not political. I definitely, it's hard to make any game about, you know, politics and the White House since it's your base of operations without being vaguely political. But so far, it really hasn't had anything to say like at all, other than like, hey, maybe we should plan for bad things to happen. The whole game like just kind of ignores everything. The game opens with like a weird video about like, did you own a gun when things started going to hell? And you're like, oh, like that's a little like, yeah.
Did your neighbor?
Yeah, did your neighbor own a gun? Did you? And it's like, okay, like I guess that means like hopefully my neighbor was my ally and didn't want to shoot me in the face. Like yeah, like the only thing like politically it has to say is like, you know, there are people that are always going to be bad and there are people that are always going to try to find good in everything. And then there are people that really don't give a shit and will just do whatever when an opportunity arises. In terms, what's that?
I was just saying hello.
Oh yeah. But like in terms of story, like unless you're picking up the collectibles and they force you to pick up a couple of them and listen to stuff, like the story so far has been like, oh hey, your wristwatch told you to get to DC. Cool, you're in Washington DC. Things suck. Go kill these people because they have something we want. Go kill these people because they're killing other people. Go get this because we need it. Like that's pretty much what the story has been. And then everything, all you do has been inspiring hope to all those around us. Like keep going and keep fighting and keep bringing hope back to the community. And like, it's like one note. I couldn't care less. Like they name like all these side characters that are supposed to like help you out. But like, God, if I even remember any of their names, like there's just the crafting guy or the crafting girl and the bounty guy and like the dark zone girl. Like none of them have real names. I mean, they all have real names, but like none of them matter. It's not like, you know, oh, the mission to rescue a dark zone girl was really important. Like, no, it wasn't.
Have you gone rogue yet?
So I have, but by complete accident. But that's an interesting topic there's been a couple of like weekly quests and stuff to go to the dark zone and do certain dark zone activities. And I have come across 2 other humans in the dark zone. And one of them just stood in front of me and did jumping jacks. And the other one gunned me down while I was trying to like open a cage or whatever. But now they have, if you're not sure what the dark zone is, it's a area of the map where it is PvPvE, I think is the correct way of saying that, where it can be player versus player, but it's player versus environment. And then it's up to the player to decide if they want to screw with the other players or not. So you can go rogue in the dark zone, which is you shoot other human players or you steal things and stuff like that. In the Division 1, it was a real problem where people would get the best gear and then they would just go rogue all the time in the dark zone and just shit on any players they wanted to, because to get the best gear, you had to be in the dark zone. And if you're like, you know, there were people that could basically single-handedly kill an entire 4-man squad by themselves just because they had the correct gear to do it. They kind of fixed that problem in the Division 2, where the gear that you get in the dark zone isn't always contaminated. So the contaminated gear is like slightly better gear and you have to extract it. So you have to wait at a point and have a helicopter show up and extract the gear. But during that time, somebody can gun you down, pick up that gear, and extract it for themselves. So in the Division 1, the only gear that you could get from the Dark Zone was extractable gear. So you had to extract every time you found something cool. Where in the Dark Zone of the Division 2, not all the gear you find is contaminated. so you don't have to extract all that gear, only the contaminated gear. And arguably, I've been finding non-contaminated gear, which is just about as good as the contaminated gear I found. Now that might end, that might change once I'm in endgame, but so far progressing through the story, that hasn't been an issue. But the other thing is there has been no one in the Dark Zone to even make it an issue. So it might be something where people are just kind of waiting to get to the Dark Zone because your gear sort of normalizes, but like with certain perks and stuff, you'll still end up being better than other players. So it might just be more of an end game activity for people so far of, oh, I'm at the end game, levels don't matter. My gear's kind of normalized, but I have these extra perks that maybe somebody doesn't have. But the days where one person could ace an entire 4-man squad are probably gone. I say that as somebody who hasn't seen it yet. I'm sure if you Google search a whole bunch of stuff, somebody will come up and be like, I went into the Dark Zone and got completely pooped on. But we'll have to find out. But otherwise, I've been enjoying it. My group has been enjoying playing it. If you're looking for quote Tom Clancy end quote story, you're probably not going to find it in the Division. But I don't know. It's still, you're still gunning down people in the streets. There's weird like activities where it's like, oh, like go teach people how to shoot guns at a shooting range or stop a public execution from happening in the middle of the street. Your call. So like it just decides to like sort of warn you about this stuff that's happening near you on the map. So you'll be running towards like a mission and all of a sudden on your screen it'll be like, hey, there's a public execution going on like 2 blocks from here. Like, do you want to do something about it?
You want to go publicly execute the people doing it?
Yeah. So like, so some of that stuff is a little like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to make a game about guns and bros and everybody shooting at each other, like you're going to get this sort of like interaction where it's like, oh, well, I'm trying to make it to this mission and I've only got 30 minutes to play tonight. So you guys go ahead and publicly execute those people. Like, I don't have the time to save them. And it's like I'm a
busy man, guys.
Yeah. So one of the, for some people, they're going to be like, every time they see like, hey, there's a public execution, they're going to want to pull and go take care of that. But, nothing, even if you pull on that, doesn't mean you're going to save all of them. So, and even saving them, it's not like, oh, you saved like 30 hostages today. Like, oh, you get a nice shiny sticker. It's like, oh, you did one of the possible 15 activities you could have done on the map. Like, congrats. Like, I don't know. It's a little tone deaf and weird in those aspects. But like, I almost feel like if you're going to make a military-based shooter, it comes with the territory nowadays.
But I mean, let's be honest. Those people who got executed, they were probably going to vote for the other guy anyway. So your boss is probably fine with it.
They're a bunch of racist white supremacists anyway. So yeah, but that's like the type of thing is it's all that stuff has always come off as weird in stuff like the Division 1, or really any military shooter, unless it's specifically speaking on those issues. So, I mean.
What are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on PlayStation 4, but the base PS4 system. There was a bug that had some issues or causing some issues, but it sounds like they've ironed that out. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the best launch for a AAA game as a service game in a long time. Guess you could argue Apex, but that's sort of a free to play, and they sort of probably baked it until the thing was ready to be served. Where these AAA releases sort of get like, you are launching on this date, and if your content and your game's not ready, like tough nuts. And Anthem has been suffering pretty hard of that. So yeah, I mean I think it's good. I don't know if I would fully endorse it if you don't have a squad. Like if you're just going to play single player, I would probably say don't play it. But if you've got like a friend or two, or, you're one of those people that like going on the internet and playing with randos, or going on Reddit and finding a group of people that want to play that game, I mean, go ahead. But that's just not the way I play games. And I know if I didn't have a squad, I'd be playing it by myself. And I don't think I've played it once by myself and kept getting gunned down. So I do not recommend it.
Yeah, I haven't played a Division yet.
I want to play this one, but I don't have it in the budget. But like it's easier to not have it in the budget because I don't have anybody to play with. I would be playing that game solo.
Sam, do you see Division 2 going as long or getting that sort of cult status that Division 1 did?
So, as of right now, I would say I hope so, because I'm having fun with it and I'd like to continue, playing new content. Ubisoft are the kings of committing to games as a service.
Yep.
I mean, Rainbow Six Siege now has more players than they did in their launch year, I'm pretty sure. Even the crew too, they've been committed to sort of building that game around it. And even the original Division, they like really started focusing and doing a lot more things and sort of like almost using it as a test ground for the Division 2 to see like what sort of content players really reacted to. Also, they do have at least a year's worth of content planned. I think like every 3 months they are planning on delivering like a big chunk of story. Probably would bring a raid, probably bring some extra content and stuff like that. So they're not selling. Well, they do have a season pass, but it's more for like you get like early access to certain things. You get like extra gear. You get like extra shiny stuff for your guns and for your backpack and nonsense like that. But they're not selling like DLC chunks. Everybody in the community will be getting access to all the expansions they release, which is a great way to keep people playing. So I've probably played I don't know about me, but the Race to 30 is probably about 60 hours, I would say. So if you're talking about just pure like dollar to time investment, like you're basically getting $1 an hour out of playing what quote unquote the story. But like those games live and die by their end game content and these raids. And it sounds like they have what are effectively like 4-man strongholds, which are their own like sort of longer, more detailed missions. And then they have 8-man raids that they're going to be launching at some point. So, forcing 2 squads to come together, or you can make clans in that game. So hopefully, getting those and getting people interested in them. They're going to have matchmaking for that stuff, which a lot of these other looter shooters have not had matchmaking for that. So, I hope they continue it. But so far, there's no evidence to me that Ubisoft is, even if it doesn't sell well, would just abandon it. They promise they're going to support their games, and they have not shown any different as of the last couple of years with some of these games as a service game. So
right. I mean, they still have like For Honor stuff coming out regularly, and they have that the pirate game coming out soon too, right?
For Honor just got a big expansion, and like they made it free for people. So I think it's incredibly smart of them. Once you release something that's like a bigger chunk of content, you want more players, just offer the base game for free and get more people in there.
And let's not forget they're going to have the Stadia exclusive Beyond Good and Evil 2 coming out.
Oh man, if you don't think the Division 2 is also coming to Stadia, then I don't know why the Ubisoft CEO was posed the way he was at that conference. Did you see that clip of him? He's like angled. He's like angled towards the camera, and then has his suit coat like
with the logo
to the side, so you could see the huge Division logo. And I was like, if that's like posed the same way that like when people lift Coca-Cola bottles in movies and stuff, and the Coke logo is perfectly like displayed.
Product placement, baby.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other things you've been playing, Sam?
No, I mean, other than my good old Konami collection, boy.
Favorite
toilet game 2018, 2019, and 2020.
What do you mean Konami collection, boy?
The puzzle collection thing.
Okay, I think you're talking about the actual Konami collection that was announced. So we can.
Oh no! Gosh, I wish. I want to play that Castlevania one.
We'll chat about that. What about you, Aaron? What have you been playing?
So weirdly enough,
last week was nothing.
Yeah, last week was fucking fuck all. But I'm playing a little bit of Slime Rancher as well. Not a lot because that game doesn't seem very deep.
No, it's not. Just collected a bunch of slimy boys and crossbreeding them.
Yep. I got a pink slime, and then I got like 30 more, and then they all eat each other's poop, and then they turn into a big pig slime, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I haven't turned it on since. And then I started playing Will This Clear My Cold? And that's a game where I do a job of eating random things to see if it's hot or spicy enough to cure my cold. And yesterday's test was wasabi paste.
Oh my god, you ate that straight?
Yeah.
Oh man, how did that go?
It worked.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's why it's sitting right here.
So if we hear Aaron start to lose his mind a little bit, because he's just doing he's snorting wasabi paste.
It's in a tube, so you just squeeze a little bit and just right down the tongue.
Oh my god!
Yeah, cleans the sinuses right out. And I've also been playing Far Cry New Dawn.
Okay,
that was I saw that was on sale. I was sitting here with like a $25 prepaid card for weeks, going maybe I'll get Factory Town. Can I get Satisfactory? I don't know what I want to get. And then Far Cry New Dawn was on sale for like $24.99. And I was like, wow, that's 1 cent lower than I have. Let's do it. So I started playing that. That game's okay. I liked Far Cry 5. I tend to like the offshoot games, the Far Cry offshoot games, like quite a lot. Like I thought Primal was cool because you're Primal's like caveman time, so you're using like primitive weapons and stuff, and you get like summoned monsters. So that was cool. And like Far Cry Blood Dragon is like this weird like digital cyberpunk thing. And this I thought was going to be like, oh, it's the post-apocalypse and everything's crazy and oh man, but it's still Far Cry. And it's like, it's just Far Cry 5. It's Far Cry 5, except the deer have like 20 horns instead of 2. But no, that game's okay. The big weapon in that game is the saw blade launcher. And it's like a crossbow that fires saw blades that ricochet off things and kill like things that they ricochet into. And I thought like, oh man, you're gonna have to do a bunch of work to unlock that. And no, it's immediate. It's the opening cutscene happens, and then you don't have any weapons, and then your buddy's like, hey, here's a workbench. I heard you were really resourceful. Why don't you make something? And then you make a saw blade launcher, and that's what I've been using the whole game. I just fire saw blades into people, and they die real quick.
Can we go back to the deer here real quick? When you say they have 20 antlers,
yeah, they've got like crazy like mutated antlers. So
there's, because I was gonna say like, so not points. We're talking about 20 like stems coming out of their head, antlers.
No, it's like 2 stems coming out of their head, and then instead of being like a bunch of different points, like you would see on a normal deer, it's like 20 on each side.
Huh. Okay.
But
I was gonna say like a 20-point buck is like a normal thing out here in Pennsylvania, my dude.
Yeah. No, it's more than that, and it's not even like that crazy to look at. And then there's just normal stuff like there's wolverines, and they look fine, and like there's rattlesnakes. And
Logan is in it.
Yeah, he comes at you.
Just a bunch of guys yelling, "Get over here, bub!"
There is definitely a main character in that game named Logan.
Is there really? I'm sure.
I just assume.
Yeah, it's probably, but it's like it's kind of weird because like almost none of the characters from Far Cry 5 are in it. I think this game takes place 24 years after the end of Far Cry 5, maybe in this weird alternate history where nukes went off. So like most of the characters are either gone or dead. And like one of your first buddy, because you run around with people in that, is like the daughter of like a side character that you meet in Far Cry 5. And the wife of the side character is in the game, but he's gone. And then when you run around and they're like, oh yeah, there's all these bunkers and stuff. You might be able to find some good salvage in there, which is Far Cry 5 was raiding prepper shelters to get stuff. And so you run in there and it's like all the same shelters of all these different people that were in Far Cry 5, and then you find like a note that says, "Oh yeah, I'm getting out of here because it's real bad, and I don't want to be here anymore." And it's like signed off by people who were in the first game, and I guess they left or they're dead or whatever. So there's not like a lot of crossover, but I don't know. The villains, the twins, the main bad guys are like the set of twins, and they're like the leader of like this like countrywide gang, and they just suck. Like they're not entertaining at all. But I mean, it's Far Cry, so the gameplay's fun. I'm running around with a bow and a saw blade launcher and a silenced pistol and a sniper rifle, and that's how I play every Far Cry game. And you claim outposts, and there's a dog. That's pretty cool. You can pet the dogs.
Or that's a whole thing now, petting dogs.
You cannot pet doggos in the Division 2. I forgot to mention that.
Immediately eliminated from Game of the Year.
Oh yeah, forget it then.
But yeah, so I've been playing that. That's fine. They added a thing. I don't remember if it was in Far Cry 5, but they added this function in the game called Expeditions, where you get in a helicopter and you go to different parts of the country to raid like supply caches of this main adversarial gang. Mm-hmm. So it's like the first one you do is like you're in Montana or whatever, and the first one you do is you fly in a helicopter to Florida. I don't know the states that well, but can you fly a helicopter from Montana to Florida without refueling?
No, I don't think you can.
So you fly over there, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll pick you up, and you do this shit," and then, but your pilot's French. And it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, it's an Ubisoft game, so they've got French voice actors and it's out of place. Like he's got like a Quebec like patch on his jacket, and he's like very French, and it's just like, motherfucker, what are you doing in Hope County, Montana? Why are you flying helicopters in Montana, dude? But so that's weird. But yeah, so I've been playing that, and that's pretty much it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
good. I haven't played a Far Cry game in ages, so I just I live vicariously through you guys.
I have what?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I haven't really enjoyed one since Primal.
All right.
They're fine. I don't hate them, but it's just all the same shit. And I was really hoping this one would be like really weird because it's like post-apocalyptic, but it's not.
I was hoping with a name like Nude On, it would be like pretty sexy, but apparently it's not.
Yeah, nobody naked in that game.
Nobody naked and Nude On. Let's get in it. Tom, what are you playing? Crickets.
Nah.
Not
playing with our hearts.
He's playing with our hearts. Let's play with some news. Let's stream some news like we're streaming this podcast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of news that's been happening this week. We need a little like a bumper for news. Sam, make us a bumper for news. Just sing something.
Nah. I don't work for free anymore, Dahlia.
Sam's bumper for news is it's the news.
It's hey, guess what? It's news time.
Put the news in your ear holes.
That's it. It's news time. We had a lot of stuff happening this week, surprisingly.
Yeah,
it's
we
BBC
did.
week. So kick us off there, Aaron. Tell us anything new?
We might as well start with a showstopper.
Yeah.
All that Google Stadia shit.
Yeah.
I had one note. For Google Stadia stuff,
I think Google Stadia is one note as well. Go ahead.
But I figured you guys would be more into this than I was. You'd have more to talk about with it. But the only point that I really pulled out was that they recommend a 25 megabit per second connection to stream a steady 1080p 60 FPS. And the only reason I pulled that out is because like I don't think a whole lot of people have that. Like that's a pretty high ask, at least in America.
That is probably, well, most ISPs in my area do not offer it. And the ones that do all have data caps. So something like that is not viable around here. I guess I can start because I participated in Project Stream, which was their test.
Oh, you were able to get into that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I demoed Assassin's Creed Odyssey using that. And I will say that even on my mom's internet, which isn't the best, I think she's at like 50. I didn't have any issues like with lag or anything like that, or any of the streaming video. All of that stuff came across just fine. And now Assassin's Creed isn't not a like Twitch shooter by any means, so it's not like, having a little bit of input delay really wasn't a huge issue with that. But I mean, it worked okay. It worked fine. My bigger issue, I guess, with the whole thing, and I guess we'll learn more in the summer, is what is their pricing strategy? Like, are we paying like a Netflix where, you pay $20 a month or something and you get access to the whole library? Or do you have to, is the service free, but then you buy games individually? And then the question is that, how do developers get paid if it's a streaming thing? Do developers get paid more if they put like some of the special extra features into the game, like being able to do those save states they were talking about, or being basically a storefront anywhere type of stuff? Like, how do you track where people's actual retention of this stuff is? To me, this almost feels like not a play at the video game industry, but feels like a play at decoding video more than anything. I think Google has been investing a lot of money into projects that end up not working out. So something like Google Glasses was a idea that they had for a while that has pretty much petered completely out. And part of that is because the technology for wearables just isn't there quite yet. You can't make a cell phone smaller than a cell phone. People have been trying for a long time, and it's just not been working out yet. But what if that device never had to be built into your glasses, but your glasses just had a video decoder, and that was what was sending the information in real time to your glasses? Or, it feels like this is a play at Google setting up an infrastructure that they don't care if the video game side of it doesn't work out for them. I'm sure they'd love to do it, and they're quote unquote committed to its success by forming internal studios. Like, basically they're going to be throwing money around for exclusives. But this feels more like they are using this as an excuse to build an infrastructure.
Right.
And then, games are a secondary, even though the presentation of it or games are the primary focus.
Yeah, it's there's a whole lot of issues with this thing that I'm thinking, and it's the network strength aside, like a lot of folks have been using that as sort of the crutch. It all depends on strength of your network and ISP and all that stuff. And then you hear people say, well, Netflix can do it and Amazon can do it. I mean, this is, to me, this really feels a lot like just another addition to Chromecast, and not necessarily, at least the positioning of this, not necessarily as a full real gaming service yet. Because all they spoke to was the streaming capabilities, and there is a box. It's not that they keep saying gaming doesn't need a box. Well, it still kind of does, because you got to host the game somewhere at Google, but and you need a pretty hefty box to do it. But to me, this is really just a Chromecast streaming video version of games, and not necessarily a full game experience yet. I mean, it's one thing to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, single player game with all the content in there, and it's nice that patches could. I'm assuming patches could be updated quickly and get everybody up to date with everything, no matter where they are in the game. But I look at stuff that the gaming culture really appreciates, and that's having access to games for things like mods, right? Right now, there's no way you can get mods on this stuff if it's streaming somewhere. Trading games with friends, sharing games, not playing, playing offline, which is huge for a lot of people. I mean, we go on vacation and we take the Switch with us everywhere we go, because you can't always get, you can't game on an airplane unless you have the network access. So there's no way you can use Stadia there, whatever it's called. I think there's still a lot of, I think Stadia is it's not a concept. I think it's a reality. It's just, it's not the full gaming. It's not where gamers want to be right now.
No, it's definitely going to be a secondary option. It's not like I think them coming out and saying like this is the complete future of games. Like I think that's a little bit tone deaf in and of itself. Like I mean, well, and there will always be people that will want to own things physically.
Mm-hmm.
If I own a copy of a game for N64 or whatever, if they turn off the servers, I can still play it. You know, there's still going to be people that are going to want that physical like disc. I mean, even something like limited run games and all these companies that have sprung up around producing indie games that otherwise had no physical version, and they sell out on pre-orders and stuff like that. Like, there's obviously still a demand for the physicalness of discs and cartridges and hardware. Also, like, you know, if you're buying these games piecemeal and stuff like that, when the inevitability of they upgrade their platform or they, you know, they decide to scrap it altogether, like, so then you just have like hundreds of dollars in a library that you can no longer access. And they sort of hinted at the idea that, like, oh, if you own the game somewhere else, like, you can play it on our platform and stuff like that. And we're crossing saves and data and purchases across. But I argue, because that is something that you're going to have to speak with both these other platform holders and the developers themselves. Because if it's too hard for Microsoft or Sony to allow you to, like, just basically send over save data and stuff like that, which is kind of pulling teeth to do that type of stuff between the same PlayStation, the same user on different PlayStations and stuff like that, like, you know, it's all kind of, you know, that's a lot of their stuff was, you know, if developers like it, or if they do this, or if they want to implement this stuff. But if you're not going to demand or like force somebody to implement that stuff, it's a bunch of question marks that everybody's going to have. And if, you know, if you're on a game-to-game basis and like, oh, this game features all these features, but this game doesn't, like, you know, there's got to be some form of communication between Google and the end users about that type of stuff. And a lot of these games, a lot of Japanese games, especially Atlas, has had issues with certain parts of their games being streamed, like on YouTube. But if you're telling these developers now that, like, oh, any game on our platform can be instantly uploaded to YouTube in real time at, like, you know, whatever the highest resolution, highest frame rate the game can offer, like
8K.
Yeah, there's going to be some developers that are probably going to say, no, thank you, because we don't want our games to be able to be streamed or utilized like that. It's relying a lot on them making statements and then developers agreeing with those statements, but then giving developers a way out if they don't want to utilize that stuff.
They kept throwing the word, and I kept cringing when they'd say it. They're like, we got stuff for creators. We're satisfying developers, we're satisfying gamers and creators, which is, you know, the new PC way of saying YouTuber and streamer. And that to me that's that third pillar that where Google sees money coming from is the whole kind of creator culture, right? Everybody streams now. We're streaming live right now on Google. So hey, thanks. You know, maybe you can pause and play us right now if you want.
Thanks, Google.
YouTube plays side questing, or switching to Twitch. No, it's this isn't a gamer thing right now. This is much like YouTube. This is a monetization platform for Google to deliver deliver games to the end user. Instead of it being video, it'll be a game. And I mean, we joked about in the chat about the ad thing. I can imagine that if you're playing this game for free, there could very well be a free tier. I mean, there's already like you know, free to play and freemium and free games all over the place. But you get ads like crazy. So imagine playing the latest, you know, the next Assassin's Creed, whatever those going to be called, or not Odyssey or Origin. There was like a new one, the rumor, I should say. You get to the end boss, and right before you get to the boss, because you're playing the free version, you get an advertisement for, you know, whatever movie is coming out. Click here to, you know, download, to buy this movie on Google, or click here to watch. You know, I think there could be those types of situations coming up through Google, because we don't know what their monetization platform is actually going to be. Is it subscription, which seems like the obvious way to go, that you just buy in, like you're into YouTube Red and you're into Amazon Prime, so you just have access to every single one, or PSN, like you get with Plus games, or you got to buy them individually, because in that case there's almost an extra step where there's a whole buying step for a game, so you can't jump in and play with your favorite streamer instantly if you're if you haven't bought the game yet. So I'm very curious to see how they implement a lot of these things, and going from there. I mean, even the notion of updates. You look at Mass Effect, was it Mass Effect 3, where they completely changed the ending of the game. Is there going to be 2 versions, 3 versions, 5 versions of games out there? Because a lot of people rolled back those updates on their PCs, on their Xboxes and PS4s and stuff, and because they didn't want certain endings to certain games and certain things changed. Is that no longer going to be the case? So I think there's still a lot of questions that are. They're thinking about developers making money, and they're thinking about content creators making money, but the only thing they have going for the end user right now, the actual gamer that's going to enjoy these, is, well, you can hit pause on your PC and grab that controller and grab your iPhone and just continue playing from that exact same spot. It's like, that's cool, but a game is very different when you're playing on a big giant screen than when you go to a small screen. We know that from the Switch, is that games play and function differently from giant screens, and you undock it and you play in a small screen, and your hands function a different way. And so I think there's a lot of unknowns as to how this could actually benefit the end user.
Yeah, I guess part of it too is like they're not really stating like who this is for, right?
Right.
They mentioned that it's for everybody, but like it's not. And you have barriers to entry with the need for internet connections and stuff like that to reach a certain speeds. And then you're eliminating certain users that want to have control over their games and control over like their purchases and stuff like that. They're not going to want to be involved with it if it's just simply like you only get this version, you can't change any settings or whatever. This is the version that you get, and that's all you get to play. And then you've got like maybe the younger generation that wants to do these sort of interactions with YouTubers or create this content. But then we've seen that even some of that stuff is a horrible idea of, streamers or whatever playing with their community. I'm sure they'll figure out some way to ban certain, like, oh, I know this one fan is a good fan. He watches all my content, but he's a super racist, and I'm not going to have him on my streams because he's going to say whatever or do whatever. So if in all honesty, I think that presentation asked a lot more questions than it solved for Google's platform. Yeah. And they almost seemed like they didn't have any answers. Like the end of that presentation was like, if you're a developer or you're at all interested in this, please hit any of these links because we want to hear from you. Probably because we don't have really any idea what we're going to do. We just have the idea of streaming games, and that's where we're at right now. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I always like more choice in the industry, giving more people different ways to play. Something that might work better for them than owning a console or something like that is a great idea. But this sort of idea that they kind of came out here and they're like, this is the future and this is what people want. Like, it kind of sounds like you don't even know what you want from the platform.
Look at each of us on this podcast, and I look at how we play games. I hear from Tom and from Aaron about their. Yeah, it's you, Aaron. About all the text all this stuff you're doing with your gaming. Tom a lot of times will mention a flight stick, or he'll mention his a new monitor, or certain aspects of his accessories. Same thing with you, Aaron. Sam, I don't know enough about it. I know you're just really kind of getting into the PC stuff with new computers, but I play on my Switch and my PS4. Almost exclusively. I don't really play on my PC on my computers, but when I do, it's just a laptop I open and I use the mouse that I have lying around. So we have this sort of level of gamer, and then you have those folks which are hardcore gamers and have like multiple screens. They may not even be into like Twitch streams or anything. They just have multiple screens, multiple like mechanical keyboards, and they go all in on setting up their gaming space. It's going to be difficult for me to understand how just streaming will accommodate for all of us. I mean, right now, just streaming is just getting video. Instead of the video coming from a hard drive to my monitor, the video is coming from the internet to my monitor. But now I can't affect the video and stuff like I would normally if it was on my PC and on my device. So they say it's for everybody, but it weirdly could be for nobody, I guess, nobody specific. And it really starts to feel more of like a casual gaming phenomenon than an actual core gaming,
Well, I mean,
conceit.
I mean, I don't really care about the all digital thing. Like I'm not a game hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I buy a game and play a game and beat the game, there's a very good chance that I'm never going to touch that again. So if, a year down the road, I buy whatever off this and I've beaten it and then I can't access it anymore. Like, yeah, that sucks a little bit, but that doesn't really bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I keep coming back to is like, if they're running the game on their hardware, so you don't have to install anything, but you're still streaming it. If you're streaming it like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that was the game they tested, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, a 60-hour game?
Ish, yeah, I think.
So 60-hour game ish. You're looking at I'm just doing a little bit of quick math here. You're looking at what, 700 gigabytes of bandwidth to stream that game in 4K from start to finish, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't most bandwidth, like most data caps that most people have, aren't those in like the 500 to 1 terabyte range?
Yes.
Per month?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're on the low end of those data caps, you can't even beat that game before you've hit your data cap. If you squeeze everything out of it, and that's one game. Like, what if you're somebody who wants to play 2 games? What if you want to play 5 games?
Well,
yep.
And the other dark side of this that I don't think a lot of people have talked about yet is because our infrastructure for internet is so bad, guess who happens to be an ISP provider?
Google.
Yeah. So Google, think about it, where, oh man, the internet sucks in our town. Man, it should be nice to be streaming and doing all this stuff. Oh, well, your friendly neighborhood Google is going to come into town and charge the community however much money to build this infrastructure for you. So now you don't have to worry. You can stream all your cool games. Like, you'll be great. I feel like this, as I said before, like this has so much implication for the rest of Google's products that like I feel like they are just using gaming as a facade. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope they are truly committed to games and they actually like mean what they say about wanting, more people in the industry. Hopefully if they're really developing a lot of first-party games, they're going to staff up and possibly create thousands of jobs in the games industry, which is great, especially after we've seen a bunch of companies fold as of recently. But in the same vein, though, like, there's so many questions of how is it monetized? Like, are we going to see ads in front of everything? This is the first wave of this product, but like 5 years down the line, when these servers are not up to snuff, like they say that they can ramp up, like stuff like that. But, until we actually see it happen, nothing really proves that to us. And they're obviously going to make moves for exclusives because that's how you get any traction as a platform now. So it's just strange. I hope it works out for them, and I hope it becomes a good thing for the industry. But at this point, I'm very on the fence with it.
We get to the exclusives part. Exclusives sell a service to me. People are I've heard people mention this, and I think we even brought up a little bit. The minute there's a little bit of sputter in a network, that's a killer for the experience, and you're going to want to turn it off, and you're going to go right to your PS4 version or your Xbox 2 or whatever is next, because you want something that's stable. Playing Fortnite online on a fully stream, it's nice to showcase a game that moves at a slower pace, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But when you get into something really fast and high pace, like the Call of Duties and the Destinies and the Apex Legends and some of the Battle Royale games, you're going to have a very difficult time keeping people motivated to stay on if there's any little bit of lag and latency is not good. So that I think it is going to be an issue right away. But just the fact that there's that whole issue, I guess, is really gonna be difficult, and keep people off other platforms if the minute the problem goes haywire. But the exclusive spot, the exclusive part, I think is really kind of interesting to me because they brought in Jade Raymond, right? They brought her in and said, "That's it. We're opening up our brand new Google exclusive studio." I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, that's great. I can't wait for all those awesome Google IPs to finally be put into into gaming format. I can't wait to play the Nest Thermostat game, or the Google Doodle game is going to be a lot of fun.
They are definitely going to make that Dino Run game into like a full HD experience. You better believe it.
They need to do something with known IP because, or something that's big and bold. I mean, I don't want to see Google's version of an online shooter. I want to see something that's new and fresh, and I don't want to see what was the Lucky's Tale on the Oculus? They said, check it out, guys. This is our Mario killer, Lucky's Tale. And I'm like, I've heard that a million times. And by the way, it was not a Mario killer. It is just a stupid little squirrel or whatever the animal is, and that was it. And it's on Xbox now, so it's not even a freaking an exclusive, and there's no reason to love it. So what is that going to be? What kind of experiences are you going to get there? Is Google going to throw a ton of money at Disney and say, hey guys, we have exclusive Disney Mickey Mouse games coming out right now? You know that cool Avengers game that you guys have been wanting for Endgame? It's exclusive to Google's to Stadia, whatever. And I'm thinking that may be the only way to get people interested and get a bunch of folks on there is if you're spending those buku bucks to get these types of IPs on there. I mean, you're already seeing Apple. They're going to have their big press conference on Monday to talk to their next big streaming platform, right? They're talking about their movie stuff, their newspapers and everything, and they spent billions of dollars to build up these studios and get this content on there. Google needs to do that too. You can't just have one group to make cool new original games. You need to sign these companies and sign these third parties to make things that are exclusive and interesting. Otherwise, there is nothing that sets it apart. So that, especially nothing that can match their Switch Pro controller that they're working on.
Well, you touched on it briefly too, but if any, even if the streaming of these Twitch shooters ends up like good, if anybody can prove that the tick rate or, that latency is better on another device, that community that plays that game seriously is going to play it on that device. The other thing is, think about how often PSN and Xbox Live go down for almost no reason other than maybe they're getting DDoSed or like, just they're getting hit hard that night. So things are going down. Now it's Google. I've never put in a Google search and it was like, sorry, cannot return results right now. But I mean, God knows why, but you better believe people are going to target it to bring it down at times. And, they need to have answers, because if that's the only way somebody's playing games, they are going to be enraged when that happens.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you're going to lose people almost instantly that way. I hate to sound so negative because there's actually a lot of value on this. To be honest, this would be my dream Nintendo console if you stick to like one console, one device, and say this is, what, guys, we're not really going to focus on the big AAA shooters. We're going to start small, and we're just going to focus on indies, and we're going to give indies the time of day that they want to have a device designed for them. So here we're working with Unity, working with Unreal, and we're going to let people have fun with these smaller games, and it's going to be pick up and play on any device that you want and start from there. I mean, you have PlayStation, was it PlayStation Now or PS Now, and they throw big games on there streaming, and that's not really making a ton of traction that I know of, right? They picked up Gaikai or whatever that was. So
well, and Microsoft is working on it. They just said in their last Xbox preview, they showed somebody playing Forza Horizon 4 on a cell phone. So they are definitely working on that.
And they even did you see that email that got leaked from Microsoft? I think it was today, actually. it was their sort of their response to Stadia. That they're I don't know who the Mr. Microsoft is anymore, but they sent the email internally and said, "Hey guys, we know that now that our competitors are showcasing this type of technology, it's just more fuel to the fire for us to really showcase what we're working on, and let's rally." It was more of a rally the troops moment than anything else, but they're really pointing to E3 as being a big coming out party for what Microsoft is working on. It seems like it. So is this the future? Yeah, potentially, but it's also further away, I think, than these companies want. Just like VR as well. And
I was just about to say, it feels a lot like VR, right? Like the technology's finally there to make it look cool, but like maybe it's still a little early for it to be adopted as widely as people want it to be.
And speaking of VR and other types of hardware and other types of experiences, how are you going to do that with streaming hardware? Because now you no longer, if you can't do streaming VR, especially if VR actually does ever take off, that's a hell of a lot of data that's got to be streamed for through these types of things. So there's a lot that Google is going to have to think about to get there. But again, it has the potential, I think, on the positive side, to be something really cool, especially for these. I would love to play, hop on YouTube and watch a trailer for, I don't know, the next Mario game, or watch a trailer for something and click the play now button and be able to play a really short demo of that game. I mean, that could be an awesome way to deliver demos instead of delivering full games. Let people try something by hitting that play button and then, click the buy now button for eShop or for PSN or Xbox One. I think there could be some really kind of interesting benefits that way. But yeah, I don't know about it. I don't know if I want a full experience yet, completely streamed. So yeah, Stadia. That's it.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Maybe this year.
Coming hot, 2019.
What else we got?
Let me have a look here. The Oculus Rift S has been confirmed.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting to me.
Speaking of streaming video.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an upgraded Oculus Rift, launching at $399 US. Basically, it's just better than the original Rift in every way. And it's just interesting. Aside from the technical side of it, it's just interesting because people were kind of wondering if Oculus/Facebook were getting out of the hardcore tech end of VR, since they were sort of focusing on Oculus Go and whatnot for the last little while. But yeah, it looks like a neat little device. If I'm understanding what I read correctly, instead of having to mount a bunch of cameras all over your house, it uses inside-out tracking. So it has 5 cameras attached to the headset, or built into the headset, that scan out instead of needing to scan in. And because of that, apparently the tracking is really good on it. People who have tested it say that the cameras can track their hands behind them and stuff like that, turned inside out without losing tracking on their digits, which is cool. Like that's a huge step for VR, for a lot of VR. Yeah, and I mean, it's still cheaper than a Vive, which, and then, it's just other stuff. It has the same requirements as the Rift, so you still need a pretty hefty PC. It comes with a longer cable. You still need USB 3.0. They changed the headphones on it, so you can plug. It's got a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack in it, so you can plug your own headphones in if you want, which is cool. 3.5 millimeter jack. Who would have thought? People love it. People love it. But yeah, that's that. That's coming out, I want to say, this year.
Yeah, it's very soon actually, because I think they're going to be taking orders on it very soon too.
Yeah,
I'm actually really excited for this, because it does seem like a type of VR headset that I could function with my laptop that I have today, and not having to go out and get too much more. But I think there's, any type of upgraded hardware is always a positive, especially we don't need that tracking. So yeah, good. I'll take it.
I would like to play with that.
Yes. And it looks kind of nice too. I think some of the industrial design of this thing is starting to get a little better. So
yeah, it looks sleek. It looks less bulky than you picture.
Yep. S is for slim.
Exactly. Sony. Apparently,
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're a company. They make games. Probably. They claim that there's no truth to the reports of them looking into taking over Take-Two.
Yeah.
And I guess they had to come out and like clamp down on that because the rumor mill was so prolific that stock price began to fluctuate.
Wow.
Over it, so they came out and said, "No, it's not happening. We're not doing that."
Yeah, they're like, "Relax, guys."
Yeah, that's in here because we talked about it last week. So just a little clarification there. What else we got? Steam had to change the way user reviews happen on games because this all spawned out of
it seems like it a million times. Yep.
This all spawned out of people quote unquote review bombing the old Metro games because Metro Exodus is an Epic Store exclusive. So now Steam has a way to filter out review bombs, and they just don't show up anymore, and people are unhappy about it. Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Speaking of that, Metro Exodus sold 2.5 times more copies than Metro Last Light did on Steam during the same sales window, which I think is a bigger deal than a lot of people seem to think, because they're like, yeah, but that game came out like 5 years ago. And it's like, yeah, that game came out 5 years ago and they haven't put one out since.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's on a store with a theoretically unestablished base that people are pissed off at. So yeah, it did huge numbers, as did Division 2. I was seeing talk about Ubisoft was planning on putting like basically their extended catalog on the Epic Store because of how well Division 2 did on there, which that's cool. And Dragon Ball Fighter Z adds
Ball Fighter Z
adds Kid Goku from GT, bringing the number of playable Gokus up to infinity. I think
it's like 79 or 80.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of Gokus. There was already enough Gokus in that game to make 2 full teams of Gokus, and now there's more Gokus.
All right, more Gokus are always Gokus.
Before we go any further, we did also skim over Epic Store announced that they have a couple more exclusives coming to their storefront that were previously Steam. So like Outer Worlds by Obsidian is coming. And it'll be exclusively on PC on the Epic Games Store.
I have a friend who wanted me to talk about that specifically because they had said, well, I guess I'm not buying Outer Worlds anymore after they've been ranting and raving about how they are for it.
I can't wait until they play Outer Worlds the very first day it launches.
Oh, totally.
Also, what is it? The Beyond Good and Evil and or not Beyond Good and Evil. What's that guy's games? The
Quantic,
yeah.
Quantic Dreams, yes. Yeah.
You were talking about Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit.
There you go. All those games, previously PlayStation exclusives, are coming to the Epic Store. And just, I don't know if anything's there, but at the end of Epic's presentation, they did mention to specifically thank Sony. So read into that as you will.
Thanks, Sony.
Thanks, Sony. I was going to say, I'm sure you're getting to this one, but we'll talk about other people thanking people. And that is Nintendo thanking Microsoft for allowing them to bring Cuphead to Switch.
Yeah.
We are all shiny and happy now in the video game industry.
Yeah. Microsoft, Nintendo, best friends.
Cuphead, baby.
No, the Quantic thing is cool because I think those games are shit. But if they do well because they're finally on PC, maybe that paves the way for other Sony exclusives to arrive on PC, which would be awesome. Like this isn't one of the Sony first party studios. Like this isn't Sucker Punch. This isn't, Insomniac or whatever. But it would be cool if Sony looked at these sales numbers and said, "Wow, there's money there. What if we put Infamous on the Epic Store? That series has been done for a while. Maybe we'll throw that up and make a little something and let people play it. Maybe Horizon shows up on." But yeah, I don't know. The Epic Store, I'm fine with it. I've been watching the catalog, and like it seems like every week they're getting more like third-party games on there. So it's not just like these weird like kind of shady exclusive deals that they've been doing. Like now they've got a catalog on there, and it's not huge. Like obviously it's not Steam, but it seems to be growing and growing. So good job. Stop spying on me, please.
Yeah, it's we are at a point where there's a bajillion stores now. Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna bring this one up or not, but Walmart is apparently looking at doing their own video streaming service now too. So we're gonna have that, or this game streaming service as well. It's a very broken video game world right now. So and it's gonna get even more separated and shattered. So be ready for that, my friends.
Yeah.
More competition.
The only other thing I had was Apex Legends Season 1 began, and the Battle Pass kind of sucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how much is it? Like $8?
It's like I'm not sure what it is American. I think it's $12.99 Canadian, maybe. Okay. So maybe like $10 American.
Or it might be the same as
something like that. Anyway, I mean, I've never bought a Battle Pass in a video game because I don't really care about that kind of stuff. But this one's releasing the same time as a new character, Octane, which is the first new character they've released. And he is not included in the Battle Pass, or she, I'm not sure. I think it's a he. You unlock him the same way you unlock the other locked characters that were there at launch. And the Battle Pass is mostly just like really shitty skins and stuff like that. So people aren't super thrilled about that. But yeah, like, who cares? The game still rules, and the Battle Pass, you don't need it to play the game. Unless I'm missing something, like I said, I've never bought a Battle Pass. So
neither have I. No, I have.
Do you get like priority queuing or something like that with a Battle Pass?
Nah, I don't think so. I will say that they are doing something that none of these other Battle Pass people are doing, as far as I know, is if you decide, if you're playing throughout the season and you get the Battle Pass later, all of the experience and stuff you gain retroactively acts towards that Battle Pass. So if you would have unlocked something in that Battle Pass while you were playing without it, when you purchase it, you do unlock it, which is kind of cool. But
yeah, totally.
I don't think Fortnite and people do that, but I could be wrong. So I mean, I think that's nifty, but yeah, it seems like from everything I've been reading that it's like, hey, do you just want color palette switches and like a couple of cool things that you got to play like 90 hours for? Like, here's the Battle Pass.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it was cool because that game seems to be doing very well, and it's always nice when games do well.
Excellent.
And that's everything I had. That's all the news I had. That's everything that happened this week in video games.
Nothing else happened this week in video games. I was going to throw super quick that there is a new one of the games announced during Nintendo's Nindies presentation yesterday was a Legend of Zelda themed game from Cadence of Hyrule, which is Crypt of the Necrodancer. But redone with Hyrule, with Zelda.
I forgot to include that because I am so bad at Crypt of the Necrodancer. I'm not a music person. I cannot beat like the first level of that game.
How are they going to make that on the on Google Stadia? Can't make those. You're not going to be able to play any Rock Band or rhythm games on there.
That would actually be a really good platform for rhythm games.
Yeah.
If you just have access to a catalog of music, you don't have to download new songs.
They had the Guitar Hero one, right?
Yeah, I was going to say they tried that. It's called Guitar Hero Live, and it already got shut down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Google's got their own music platform, though, don't they? Don't they have Google Music or some shit like that? They've got Vivo or something. Like I don't know.
Did they buy Vivo? Maybe, I don't know.
I think they own Vivo. Isn't that just like a YouTube thing?
Potentially.
Yeah, I think they might have bought Vivo, but yeah, they also have Google Music where you can download stuff like Amazon and iTunes and all that nonsense.
All right, that's all I had. I didn't have anything else.
Has anybody heard anything about them making bigger Switch controllers yet?
No, not yet. It's going to make it very difficult for the new VR Labo kit that's coming out.
Yeah, I continue to say fuck the Switch.
Yeah, maybe they'll make a Labo kit where it's just like big hands controller. And
I heard that the real reason Reggie is retiring in April is because he can't play the damn machine anymore because his hand's too big.
Yeah, yep, good.
He could fit the 3DS in his pocket, but he can't fit the Switch, and he's like, I'm done with this company.
I don't even know you anymore, Nintendo.
I tried to help you guys with Pizza Hut.
I can only hand out so many vouchers.
Yep.
I hope he's going to be at PAX, because that's like that's technically still during his time, and they're hosting that Smash Brothers and that Splatoon tournament there. So hopefully he's there. I'd like to give that man a high five before he leaves the industry.
Yep. My only interaction with Reggie Fils-Aimé was at E3. I think both times he walked past me, and he's a giant ass dude.
Shorter than me.
We are also,
shorter than you. Yeah,
we are also tiny men.
We are
height-wise.
All right, gentlemen, that's it for this week's side quest. Next week is gonna be really interesting because we're gonna be at PAX East. A few of us will be out there. Not Aaron, but unfortunately, maybe we'll call you in and do a podcast with you over YouTube that way. We'll figure that out.
Says he's gonna be there, but he said he was gonna be here tonight too. So who knows?
YouTube is tiny.
Yeah,
I just Googled Reggie's height. He's only 6 foot. What are you guys doing?
Reggie's only 6 foot.
Yeah, it's
a lot taller.
1.85 meters, which is 6.06 feet.
I will say that on my driver's license, it says I am 5'6". That is probably a lie.
That is probably too much.
Reggie is 6'1". So,
yeah, okay, he's rounding up. I get it.
He's always sitting around shorter people, though. So that's probably
it's that extra inch; it'll get you every time.
Yeah, there you go.
You gotta be at least 6'1" on Tinder. You know what I mean?
That's. Goodness!
I've never actually been on Tinder.
I don't know. I don't know what's a Tinder.
I think you swipe left. I don't even know what that means.
I played Reigns. That's pretty close to Tinder, right? All right, folks. We'll see you. We got to so next week we're at PAX East, and then in 2 weeks. The big 10th anniversary of side questing.
Wait, did you say Tom was going to be at PAX East? Are you sure?
Well, so we don't know. We'll find out.
Because I heard Tom was going to be here tonight.
Yeah, well, Tom who? Tom Joe. We're more likely to get Tom Jones on a podcast than Tom Johnson. Oh goodness! All right.
Oh, hey, this just in, fresh off the internet presses. Nintendo has uploaded a 7-minute long video detailing what is in the Toy-Con 04 VR kit. So maybe go check that out because the screenshots I'm seeing already look nuts.
Oh, interesting. There is apparently the Toy-Con Garage VR, which lets you make 3D games essentially with Labo. So for VR. So that's kind of interesting. All right. Anyways. I am Donnie Domofsky. Well, first of all, you can find us at SideQuesting. SideQuesting.com. Yada, all that fun SideQuesting TV stuff. Just look for us. Send us messages. You can find me at Donnie Domofsky. Where can we find you, Aaron? Oh, you're muted, so we can't find you anywhere.
I thought I unmuted myself. You can find me at Twitch and Twitter at Scratty Bones. Probably not Twitch for the foreseeable future because my webcam broke.
Where can we find you, Sam?
You can find me at Twitter also at SamDI79. Again, my weekly of what content to look at other than my Twitter content. If you have not seen the Strange Planet comics, they're
awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, the Imagine Pleasant Nonsense, I might get tattooed to my body at some point. So,
okay.
Man, those are funny. Just Google search or Twitter search Strange Planet and go look at his content instead of mine.
Excellent. With that said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Love you.
Peace.
Bye. Peace.
Bye, friends.
So I gotta wait till we're